What is up, fellow benchwarmers? Welcome to Fantasy Benchwarmers. And today we're gonna talk about schedule. It's our weekly thing about schedule. We're gonna talk about week 19, a couple of weeks before fantasy playoffs begin. My name is JJT with Pamish Eric. Pamish, before we go to the schedule, let's talk about some updates today. SGA out again today. Tomorrow. That's second game, right? Second game out. He was out the last
Second
game.
game out. Yeah.
Now, I know, this would probably be the biggest question for SGA owners. Is this it? Is this where they take a more cautious approach with SGA? Or is this some rest thing? What do you think?
I don't think it's a resting. I don't think it's tanking. No, according to Mark, Coach Mark, they know whatever. Their coach. He's really been dealing with the hip injury, and he's day to day. I will take his word for it. I will take his word. He's day to day. So when you're day to day, you could miss probably 2 to 3 games. No, it should not last a week or more. So I'll take his word for it. I think they're gonna trying to rest him, trying to be more disciplined with SGA, but they're not tanking. They're not shutting him down. That's
Which is
how
a
I
good
see
news. Which is a good news already.
it. Yeah. But it's a hip flexor. So it's similar to, I think, what the Rosen had, not mistaken. These things are really just rest kind of situation. So they don't want it to linger maybe or to worsen into something else like what happened to the Rosen. So they're trying to nip it right away. So I think he'll be out at most maybe another game. But considering, SGA owners considering, this is what, week 18 and week 19. You should be ready, thanking the fantasy gods that he lasted all the way to this point of the season. It's very mild compared to what the other owners of Lamelo, even Halliburton
had gone through. Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
Or I mean, Carl Anthony Towns, for example, is a player who has not played again, and there's a chance he might not play in time for any of your fantasy playoffs. But I was just about to say, I was wondering how many SGA owners there whose teams are within that top teams in their leagues, right? Because I think SGA is one player who really surprised everyone from being a fourth round pick to maybe a first round. I think I was thinking about a few guys, maybe Jaren Jackson, another player who was picked way down there and has moved up already into the rankings, right? Because of his hot start. Those players, I think, have surprised. And I'm sure they've been very critical in terms of, pushing your teams into that top spot. So I'm wondering how many SGA owners there who are there at the top or at least within the playoffs or have a strong lineup as well.
I think majority.
You think so?
I think majority.
Comment in the comment section.
I think I will look for there will be stats there in Yahoo. I'll check it, but I'm pretty sure majority, if not all, not 100%, but a lot, a real big number of percentage would be in the top. Not even the top 8 or top 6, I think would be in the top, because if you just drafted the only SGA teams that will probably not be in the top is if they had Carl Anthony Towns and then SGA, or maybe a Lamelo early on the season and then SGA. SGA basically just replaced their first rounder. But for the others who drafted maybe SGA with Jokic, for instance, or with Embiid, even with Harden, even with Tatum, that's just 2 first rounders automatic, and that's just it's just too big of an advantage. And I've written about it. I've said it a lot of times. He's the biggest fantasy game changer I've known. Since I can remember in recent memory. The SGA factor is really, really the biggest factor this season in fantasy, because he's a top 3 player. It's not even top 12, top 15, top 3, and he was picked 30s, 40s, even 50s. So
And
it's just a huge advantage.
and if you're, I know the worry about SGA is about the games played. I think he's played a lot more than a lot of the top
Yep.
picks, guys, like
Yep.
Lamelo, even Steph.
Yeah.
Steph's been out. He has been out for two sets of multi-week or multi-games being out, right? And then even AD, right? Those guys. I think he's played a little more than those guys. So we'll cut him some slack here, have him rest for a bit, maybe get you guys ready for fantasy players. It doesn't look like Kumish said, doesn't look like they're gonna be hard tanking because like we said even before, the bottom teams are way out already. I mean, way below. They're multi games under those teams who are still OKC. I mean, they're
And
a few games behind already.
And remember, the lottery odds, top seven are the lowest seven are the guys that are really have a bigger chance. I don't think OKC can reach that point. Plus the fact that they're a better team, even without SGA already at this point. They have Jalen Williams, the rookie, was helped them a lot, and then Josh Giddey has improved. They have a better team overall. So it's really hard to tank even if you rest SGA. It's really hard to lose continuous games if you're OKC, and I think Utah is finding that out as well. It's not gonna be easy to tank if you're Utah because they have a pretty solid core of players. Laurie Markkinen, for instance, Walker Kessler's emergence. It's gonna be hard for them to lose like 15 in a row, 16 in a row, then a really hard tank. I don't think that's gonna be there, for Utah.
Plus, the coaching has been great as well for both
Coaching
of
is
these teams.
yes.
Very young, promising coaches. They play hard every night. Even their bench players, like like you said, the talent there is good. Plus, the bench players are playing hard every night. Like without SGA, Isaiah Joe stepped up the other day. The Williams combination, right? Both guys playing well as well. So, let's cut SGA some slack. Isaiah Joe, I mentioned, could be a beneficiary here if he continues to miss time. PJ Washington is the biggest injury concern today. Well, he got injured, I think, the last game, did not play today. So Mark Williams has, a clear path in that front court. Today, 20 rebounds. I think he had the 20 rebound game.
18 points, 20 rebounds, a steal and a block. Yesterday, we didn't talk about his game yesterday, or did we? The other day, I guess the other day, the game where they played small ball when Kelly Oubre returned. I think we mentioned that. We talked about that a little bit. And we said it's going to be affecting him. But with PJ's injury, I saw a comment about what we posted that is it that severe? I said it's not severe. I'm not saying it's severe. I'm just saying it's not a sprained ankle. It's a sprained foot. We have dealt with this a lot of times already about spraining the foot instead of the ankle. It's worse, but it doesn't mean that it's like a multi-week absence right away. But it's just something to watch, to monitor, or to wait for further updates, for PJ. I'm in the assumption if it's really a sprained foot, it's not a 1 game absence thing. Could be at least a couple of games. I hope I am wrong because I have a lot of PJ Washingtons and he played well the last game. So, but his absence would just open up a lot for Mark Williams and Kelly Oubre also.
Overall, he has been playing well. PJ Washington, I think. Whatever we expected from him in the past few years is showing this year more consistently. Not just a 1 game, 2 game thing. So let's see. Let's wait for timeline. Hopefully, it comes out sooner than later. One thing that's funny though, not related to PJ Washington, but related to Detroit. We talked about Detroit the last time out about Jalen Duren and James Wiseman. Remember when I talked about a few weeks ago about things playing out, getting into the timing of some things. We worry too much about certain things, and then the fantasy gods, just magically did their thing to pave the way for us to get a clearer picture. So today, Detroit missed Jalen Duren out with an ankle injury, and then they also lost Isaiah Stewart to an injury. So that means we were talking about Marvin Bagley, James Wiseman, and Jalen Duren. Of course, we didn't talk about Isaiah Stewart, but he is part of that front court. Now it's down to Wiseman and Bagley, who will probably start as long as those two other players are out.
Yeah, I'll wait to see if they start them together. That's kind of hard, no? Because Wiseman and Bagley don't really shoot. Isaiah Stewart, Bagley, or Isaiah Stewart, Duren works because Stewart takes a lot of 3-pointers this year. So I don't know if they'll start them, but they'll probably be the two centers. They'll split the center minutes. If they play together for even just for 7-8 minutes a game, that would increase their minutes even more. So Bagley went 21 points, 18 rebounds today. From first game back, did something like that. I'm sure it's gonna be picked up everywhere, and I would say, yeah, okay, he played well. Give him the benefit of the doubt that he can continue this. But I very 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 don't think that it will continue. We know what Bagley does.
Definitely, 21-18 is not going to be sustainable. But the least he can be is, he can be rosterable in maybe 14.
Yeah, he will be.
Right? I
for
mean,
the meantime,
as much of a flack that he gets for his fantasy game or the real basketball game he has, he can contribute if he gets the playing time. He can contribute. Maybe rebounds, points. Well, that's it.
That's it. Rebounds and points. That's it. He's more. It's better in your mind than in the actual fantasy output, because he usually gives you what Wiseman has been producing lately: 12 points, 10 rebounds, 14 points, 10 rebounds. Sometimes
which is a big thing for someone you picked up off the waivers. That's a big. Yeah, but, I mean, someone who does a double, who can you get from the waiver wire?
Yeah, I get that, but the lack of defensive stats kind of. My point is, right now is from the waiver. But sometimes some managers have different expectations of Marvin Bagley, higher expectations of him. But this is really plus the fact that he's not consistent. Now, if he can do this, like if he's like a Von Looney, for instance, we've mentioned Looney a lot of times. If he's like a Von Looney who's just consistently 10, 12, 14, 13, 14 rebounds every single game, 12, 11, 12, 11. As long as you give him, even if you give him 18 minutes, 20 minutes, he gets to 12 rebounds a game. If he's like that, then Matt Bagley would be much, much better because he's a better scorer, no? So he can also give you the blocks here and there, some games. But he's not that. So the inconsistency, the poor free throws and everything else, that's what SARS fantasy managers from Bagley. But for now, Duren's injury is 2 ankles reportedly, so he might be out a while also. So maybe for a week or so, we can use Bagley and also Wiseman. We can use both of them.
Yeah. So yeah, and of course, add to that though, if everyone's healthy in Detroit, there's kind of a cloud there on how everything goes. So everyone's fantasy value just drops significantly when everyone's healthy. So once Duren's back, Isaiah Stewart, we're not sure if he's gonna miss some time, but if he does not miss some time, there's still a cloud there on who really has the biggest advantage among all the front court players of Detroit. Yeah, that's it for injury. Kristaps is out tomorrow. So doesn't look too serious, but hopefully it won't be that serious. So he's been in and out, but relatively for this season, I think owners are gonna be happy with Kristaps. He didn't miss a lot of time. He had missed some games here and there. Ironically, like I said earlier, the players who you thought could miss a lot of time, because of injury or noted as injury prone during drafts, have been relatively healthy and have played a good amount of games. So I think Kristaps will hopefully Kristaps won't be out for long. Kevin Love played and started we talked about it the other day. If he starts, I think he's a very good, very viable fantasy option. Better than Bagley if he starts.
So far he started both games. Yesterday, 8 points, 4 rebounds, a steal and a block, but no points. Today, 13-13. So for me, I agree. If he starts, you add him. If he starts, you add him. If he gets 25 to 26 minutes, he will produce. He will produce. Even when he was in Cleveland, if he was starting, we were adding him.
Yeah.
I don't know if he continues to start. Miami's been losing. Miami's lost 4 in a row. They've lost their 2 games with Kevin Love starting. So I don't know if that will make them change because the Bam Adebayo Kevin Love combo is still under scrutiny. A lot of experts are saying that is really not something that's
gonna work.
That's something that's gonna work. So we don't know that, but for now we add him. Yeah. Until when, we don't know.
He is not there in the waivers in a lot of leagues already. So yeah. In the waivers though, Chris Dunn, Ochai Agbaji, maybe in deep leagues worth a shot, or a streamer, maybe you could stream him.
Chris Dunn, he's been outplaying Taylor. Not that it's hard to believe he's outplaying Taylor Horton Tucker, but
that's not a hard standard as well.
That's not a hard standard, and he's a more natural point guard than Taylor Horton Tucker. He's in a 10-day contract. I don't know how long Sexton will be out, but if Sexton's hamstring causes him to miss more time than 2 games or 3 games, then Dunn might get another 10-day, might be signed for the rest of the season. Watch out for Dunn. For me, they have a 2-day break after today. That's why I didn't add him anywhere, because it's just hard to add someone who, even if you see that he has potential, is still someone on a 10-day contract. Hard to add somebody and then have him not have a game for 2 days. But I will add him if he's still there when their next game comes, because I think he will outplay Taylor Horton Tucker in most games, and he can give you the assists, he can give you the steals as long as he gets the minutes. Last season, he did this for Utah. He was also with Utah, and he was, I think, top 120, 100 the latter part of the season. So, yeah, Chris Dunn is someone to watch. Better than Ochai Agbaji, but Agbaji is more certain with the minutes, but Dunn is a better fantasy player.
All right, let's talk about week 19 schedule.
Yeah, week 19.
Quickly, 4 games. There are a lot of teams with 4 games, 18 teams with 4 games. There will be teams with 2 games. So this is going to be tough. The Jokic owners in Denver, of course, the Jamal Murray, lower end player, lower in the sense that, not as big of an impact as Jokic. On the Cleveland side, Cleveland also has 2 games. The Donovan Mitchells, Darius Garland, Jarrett Allen. Those are Evan Mobley, who's been playing great. The past few weeks. Those guys are gonna be major. There's gonna be major impact if you own those guys for next week.
And so, for me, the bigger hit there is that, as you said, there are 18 teams with 4 games. Yeah. So majority of the other players have 4 games, and if you own a Jokic, that's gonna hurt, because the usual schedule, at least there will be a lot more teams with 3 games. So that 1 game difference sometimes doesn't really hurt, because it's Jokic, but 2 games is a big difference if you're playing against, let's say, LaMelo. Jokic versus LaMelo next week. LaMelo has 4 games. You'll be crushed. The same rebounds and assists that usually you get, you're winning, might be closer if you're playing against a LaMelo on 4 games. So that's gonna hurt for Jokic owners.
Yeah, and playoffs start next week for some teams.
Yeah. Yes.
That's going to be tough. But I'm pretty sure if you were the Jokic owners, you've already foreseen this. I think the bigger hit here could be, the Cleveland guys, Donovan because Jokic, if he has two solid games, I think that's somehow good enough to compensate for maybe that's take that as a 3 game stat set already for Jokic, right? But the Cleveland guys, Mitchell, Garland, um, Evan Mobley, and Jarrett Allen, if they have 2 games and they don't produce in 1 game, it's going to be a tougher blow as well for you guys. So hope you prepared for that. Breakdown of games tomorrow, first day of the week 19, 4 games only. It's a quality game day. And then Wednesday, 10 games, Thursday, 9, and then Friday, the usual Friday. All of these are Manila time, the usual Friday quality game day, 4 games. And then Saturday, 10 games, Sunday, 6. And Judgment Day, another 10 game slate. Somehow a return back to the more games on a Judgment Day, because the past few weeks we've had a smaller slate on the Judgment Day, so more chances to stream and catch up for Judgment Day next week. Back to backs. Transition week, Denver, Toronto. So that's good. At least Denver gets a quick start, right? Week 18 to 19, Monday to Tuesday. Start of week 19, Tuesday to Wednesday, there's none. Wednesday to Thursday, Brooklyn, Chicago, Houston, Lakers, Memphis, Milwaukee, OKC, and Portland. Thursday, Friday, Philly. Friday, Saturday, Golden State and the Clippers. Saturday, Sunday, Atlanta, Miami, Minnesota, Sacramento. Sunday, Monday, Houston, Milwaukee, San Antonio. And Monday to Tuesday, the transition week to week 20, Boston, Indiana, Portland. Overall, lots of teams with back-to-backs. That means lots of streaming opportunities here, because like we said, when you want to stream, you'd rather get a player who might have a back-to-back. But again, with just 1 day without a back-to-back, and that's just the start of the week, you can stream every day, or not. You can choose not to stream every day. Just because there will be a lot of players with back-to-back sets next week. All right, streaming plan. Worst schedule, of course, the Nuggets and the Cavs. Who else? Atlanta, Minnesota, Sacramento, and Utah have only 1 game in the first 4 days of the week. So yeah. And then New Orleans has 1 game in the last 4 days of the week. So those are the teams with the worst schedule. Any thoughts, Kamish?
Yeah, I think with this week, aside from the 2, as you said, you can divide the week also on from the first half and the second half, so that maybe that's how you do your streaming. So just important to take note of these teams that we just mentioned: the Atlantas, the Minnesotas, the Sacramentos, the Utahs. Because if you have Cleveland and Denver players, and then you have some of these players also, you'll be, by the second half of the week, you'll be really, really down in counting stats. It's gonna be hard to catch up. So like a player, let's say like Bogdan, Bogdan Bogdanovic. I mean, he's somebody I would hold. But if you have Jokic, and then if you have 3 or 4 Cavs and Nuggets players, it's hard to hold him. Even a Malik Monk, who's been very hot and had 45 points. He's Taylor Horton Tucker for Utah, for instance. They only have 1 game. That's why I mentioned Chris Dunn, right? This schedule is not gonna do him favors if you added him after today.
Also, yeah, it's going to be easier to drop those players, Malik Monk, Bogdan, if you are already in the playoffs, right? You don't want to get too far behind when you are in the playoffs. You don't want to just hope that your team can catch up, because there's really no tomorrow after the end of the week, after Judgment Day. So you don't want to get too far behind. You want to get as close as you can, even if you're down 3-6, 2-7, but you are just down a few rebounds, a few assists, a few steals, or a few blocks. That's okay, as long as you'll be able to keep up until Judgment Day, right? Keep those numbers close until Judgment Day, or until close to the a day or two before Judgment Day. So that's when you have playoffs. Of course, it's easier to hold on to these players when you are not yet in the playoffs, because especially if you've secured the playoff spot already. Teams with good schedule, quickly. Philly, so Mish considers Philly as the team with the best schedule. They have 2 games on quality game days, on both the quality game days, and also 3 games in the first 4 days.
They're the only team. They're the only team with the games on both quality game days. So the problem with Philly, there's really nobody to stream.
Yeah.
Unless you consider the Anthony Melton as a streamer. For me, Melton, even with these games, really hard to. It's not doing. It's not doing anything. It's not giving you anything. So, but he's probably the best one already to gamble from Philly. That's a sad thing. I wish it was some other team, but with Philly, really nobody there. Really nobody there.
All right, now let's look at the other teams with good schedules to see if there are some streaming options. San Antonio, they have the best overall schedule, because they start with Utah, and then the last 4 days they get Indiana and Houston
twice.
Yeah. So
I'm very interested how those 2 games would be. No, San Antonio versus Houston. Will Popovich suddenly say Keldon Johnson is hurt, or whoever is hurt, whatever? And Houston, what will they do? Will they rest their own players? Because these 2 teams, I don't know, they're the bottom 2. They're lower than Charlotte. They're really the bottom 2. So those will be crucial. If somebody goes 2-0 in those 2 games, that's a big edge over the other. So these 2 games will be very, very interesting for me. I think the Rockets and the Spurs, I think, streaming delight for the last 4 days of the week.
Yeah, San Antonio have 3 games in the last 4 days. The Clippers also have 3 games in the last 4 days. I think the Clippers will have some nice streaming options. We talked about in our courtside Batum, maybe Man, if he gets minutes. I don't know if Plumlee was dropped, but Zubac is hurt. He might be a viable option as well. Covington, I guess, for deeper leagues. They have good matchups as well in those games. Golden State, Sacramento, Memphis in the second half of the week. Golden State and Washington also have 3 games in the last 4 days. So though the matchups aren't easy, but there could be some streaming options, particularly in Golden State, I guess. Not much in Washington. Maybe Dillon.
Washington, maybe Denny Avdija was dropped.
Or Dillon was still there.
Yeah, Dillon got hurt. Hurt, but today he's not in the injury report. So maybe it wasn't something serious. But he was dropped in some leagues because people thought, hey, it's the same injury as before. He's gonna be out. But if he was dropped, he's gonna be very interesting, especially if your steals, assists are close. Dillon could be a game changer there at the last part of the week. Remember, week 19 could be the start of your playoffs, or could be the last week of your regular season. Now, for the Clippers, just to add another note there, they have a rematch with the Kings this week. So remember the 176-175 game. So they will have a
That's not going to happen. It's not going to be 176-175, but let's see.
Yeah.
It could be another high-scoring game.
Yeah, just gonna be another high-scoring game. Just to note, I'm sorry, just to go back to the back-to-backs. I made a mistake with the back-to-back from week 18 to week 19. There's none. It's not not the Denver. That was from last week. So just to mention it out there, there's no back-to-backs from week 18 to week 19. Just that one. That one. There was a little typo error there, but I corrected it already.
All right. Other teams with good schedules, Houston and the Lakers have good schedules.
Yeah.
The Lakers have good matchups. OKC, Minnesota, Memphis, and Golden State.
Coincidentally, the top 5 teams in offensive pace are OKC, Minnesota, Memphis, Golden State, and the Lakers. That's the exact top 5 in offensive pace, the fastest team in the league. And those are the 4 teams plus the Lakers playing against them. So I hope LeBron plays. I hope, well, D'Angelo is hurt. So that's a bummer if you own him. It would have been a big week.
I think he will. LeBron will probably play. These are the teams also that they're trying to catch, right? Minnesota,
That's
Golden
true.
State,
Okay, yeah.
except for Memphis. I
Yes.
think these are the teams that they need to win against.
Yes. Very good point.
To gain some momentum or to gain some ground in that play-in spot. So I think most likely LeBron plays. So hopefully he gives us good numbers in that this week. Other players you can. Yeah.
I'm bummed for D'Angelo. He would have been a perfect for this 4-game slate for the Lakers. But
who's gonna replace him?
Schroeder, probably Schroeder.
Yeah.
I think Schroeder is a player you can stream already.
All right. So other players you can target: Malaki Branham. I don't think Malaki Branham is available in different leagues. Dante DiVincenzo, I don't think he's available as well. But just in case, Dylan Wright could be available. Jason Tate could be available. Kevon Looney. Not all leagues, maybe in shallower leagues he can be available. Malik Beasley could be available.
Yeah.
Pat Beverly, who's starting for Chicago, he could be available. Kevin Love, like I said, not a lot there, but yeah, could be. Now this one in Portland, these three guys could be available. Tybal, Sharp, and Reddish. They had a 2-day break, I think, after the last game. So I think after today, I think after the last game they had a 2 or 3 day break. So they play again tomorrow, and then just a 1 day break. So they might have been dropped already. Tybal, Reddish, Sharp. I think I'm going Reddish first, and then Tybal before. Yeah. I think Tybal could be someone, like I said, for those in the playoffs, he could be someone you can look into if you're trying to win your steals and blocks. He is more of a specialist, nothing there really other than steals and blocks still. Reddish if you need points. Sharp, I don't know what Sharp's role going to be, but Jeremy Grant is going to play tomorrow, so the value might not be as good as when Jeremy Grant was out. All right, so yeah, that's it for Week 19 schedule. Playoff start, exciting times in fantasy as we move towards the tail end of the fantasy season. As always, please subscribe, guys. Please like, follow us in our socials, and we'll see you guys again tomorrow for our usual daily fantasy week. Hi, guys.